COVID has completely changed the way each individual experiences self-care and health. People feel like the people that have navigated through this pandemic better was the ones that were taking care of their health in a proactive way. In a way, this pandemic, we need to look at this through the lenses of opportunity as well, because it is delivering an engagement and excitement level to learn more about science and the positive aspects of science. It's really important that as an industry, we make life easier for them. I think there is a very clear role for the industry to improve the way we communicate with people in a sharper, clear way that is also engaging and empathic. We explain in terms that are reasonable for someone that doesn't have a PhD in chemistry.
The past for the healthcare industry has been complex. Really, I think probably a conservative industry in comparison to a lot, mainly driven by the necessity of regulation, the necessity of restrictions around media use, and engaging consumers directly. The reality is digital technology has democratized all of that and taken all of that away. And we see it in the most regulated businesses that shift is happening at the most pace.
So when the time comes to communicate with the audience, they have the tendency in putting those benefits in a very rational way ahead of the consumer as the main reason for them to buy.
So I think being well branded and informative will take you so far. But I think if you really want to make a shift and you really want to create some groundbreaking work, you need to think about going a little bit further than that. And that's where the power of creativity comes into play, because we need to remember that we're dealing with human beings who are busy and they're living lives and they're bombarded by hundreds of other messages. So we need to reach out with something that's properly meaningful.
Creativity and science are not exclusive things, and this is the paradox that has to change in this industry. So we need to use creativity to help explain and educate science. And this is what I feel super excited about.
Humans are still humans. We're still very insecure about our own health. We're still very worried about our knowledge, about our own bodies. And so it's the responsibility really for the brands to act as that intermediary in between the professional healthcare providers and those worried consumers, and use technology to get better knowledge, better access to the product.
The real question is there an opportunity to do more? Is there an opportunity to make it more striking, more interesting? And that's where I think that the potential is.
We've probably done 3 or 4 studies in the last 2 or 3 years at FE, and whenever we cut the data, the same thing happens, which is if you really want to drive spectacular results, there has to be at the heart of that campaign a really powerful, big, meaningful idea.
Children spend 7 hours a day on screens. They spend 7 minutes a day outside. Being outside has all sorts of fantastic benefits for kids, but we somehow have to inspire them and their parents to get them outside. At a rational level, the answer we came up with was there's a whole world of joy and miracles that you can find just by stepping outside. But this is one of those cases where we're talking to people who aren't starting with an understanding of a problem that they already have. And that's why we really have to do something that is very different to first catch their attention and draw them in, and then deliver our story. And the work, if you've seen it, is very striking visually, very arresting visually, and then has this song that draws you in and takes you through all of the wonderful things that you can find if you just step outside for a little longer. It's not a kind of rational representation of reality. It's dreamlike.
The idea was very simple, was to bring the benefits of the real world that Redoxon offers to the people on protecting the immune system into the virtual world. It's very unconventional, very contemporary, and through a very simple creative idea, you are able to not only address the core target audience of the idea, as well as with a PR campaign around it, to address and to communicate in a very innovative way with very different target audiences. It's very, very simple and straightforward. The same way Redoxon helps to boost the body defenses in the real world, it sponsors the defenses in the virtual world while you are playing games of fire.
So what we've done with Caniston is launch the Vagina Academy. So a really engaging, sort of culturally relevant and interesting way of thinking about a stress-free, shame-free school for education around intimate health. So the results we've seen on Vagina Academy have been extraordinary. Not only the pace to market, where we managed to go from idea into activation within 6 months, and the way that that pilot in Brazil scaled to reach over 200,000 girls with record-breaking engagement on TikTok, but also the inspiration that has been to drive better brand engagement and brand scores within Brazil, ongoing growth of the brand and the sales in that market during the period the program kicked off.
It's very easy to compete or to be compared with two very similar functional benefits. It's way more difficult to compete with a brand that has a very strong emotional bond with the people.
As I look into the future, I just think the healthcare sector has, if not the greatest potential to transform through creativity of any sector, it's certainly up there. And the reason for that, again, is, it's down to the democratization of access and knowledge that technology provides. It's down to the innovation that we're seeing that's moving us from just being about physical products that are recommended by healthcare professionals into a space where we are that key experience intermediary. The sky's really the limit, and it's just up to healthcare brands to, release the sort of shackles of historic cultural conservatism and move into a space where they want to grab onto the opportunity.
Creativity has not been at the level that we should be. It has a tremendous potential in terms of attention for the consumer. It has a tremendous potential from a competitive scenario point of view and differentiation point of view. So we have all to play, educating, bringing awareness, and it has to be this place where people look as an opportunity to bring creativity that changes lives in a way that other categories cannot do. This is a good enough reason for me to do it.